Welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. I'm really glad you're here. Today's date is Tuesday, May 9th, 2023. Well, this past weekend, the person seen in the public eye as Charles had his coronation. And while I didn't watch it, I have to admit, I've enjoyed browsing through different sites on the internet and seeing people that noticed oddities, anomalies, breaks from tradition, and even possibly creepy things during the coronation. Let me show you a compilation I have on my Facebook page that gives a little more information, and then we're going to do a tarot read about at least one element of that coronation. Okay, the link to my Facebook page will be in the video description box, and 1 second, I'll share this with you. Okay, now first and foremost, what I saw that was very interesting here, Stephen Colbert on the Bluebird site mentioned, and it was also quickly followed up on by QMum, okay, that the oath was signed in black ink by Charles. Now, there are some absolute rules and etiquette that have to be followed, and there is in this situation. And it's important to notice that the color of ink that had been used here, black ink denotes death, and signing in this color represents the fact that a dead entity is signing and is one and the same as the debtor. So black for death. Okay, it should have been signed in purple to denote the fact that a sovereign is speaking, creator and follower of their own law, and conveying the message. Okay, so I found that very, very, very interesting. Now, I also found it interesting, just this little compilation of how many of the royal jewels had been legitimately or illegitimately received. Okay, so if you look at some of the traditional regalia here, we have this was stolen from Australia, this from Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, India, Egypt, Barbados, Fiji. I thought that was really interesting. Now, one other item, okay, that should have been present on the during the coronation was the Stone of Destiny. Okay, all right, so look at this. On the 2nd of June in 1953, Elizabeth Windsor was crowned on a fake Stone of Destiny. She had delayed her own coronation for almost 16 months because the Windsor Mafia knew the stone, which was returned from England, was indeed a fake, a bad copy. Okay, and she could not get crowned on a fake stone. She did. Okay, okay. All right, so even her coronation wasn't legitimate. Okay. Now, the Stone of Destiny, or the Scone Stone, is reported to be back in safekeeping in Scotland. I find it very interesting that on May 1st, Mr. T was present there. And if you watched my read for that, not even knowing too much about the Scone Stone at that time, I got that he had a pleasant surprise and something really wonderful had happened, had resolved even better than he thought at that time. So I'm wondering if the Stone of Destiny was involved. Okay. Now, back to this coronation, though, for the person seen in the public eye. I phrased it that way very deliberately, in case and I'm almost positive we're not dealing with a version 1.0 of somebody, but a 2.0 or beyond. During the coronation, this was recorded. And while the official explanation is that that is not the Grim Reaper, it is a choir boy in robes with a candle snuffer or scepter or something. It just seems odd that in this state event, which was highly, highly scripted, down to even, I mean, they were supposed to be in lockstep, the horses, the colors of the horses that were used, everything. There were so many anomalies. This was a big one. Was it a calm? Gotta wonder. Now, I found a blog that kind of compiled a lot of these elements and more here. Okay, it talks everything about the from the headdresses that tend to have a World Economic Forum motif going on, to colors that they were using that seem to be more druidic than ceremonial, talking about that. It mentioned how the horses were in lockstep, and out of the blue, here's a figure going the wrong way. Not quite the traditional display of discipline, order, and symmetry that one would expect. I hope the scrolling doesn't bother you, but I am scrolling. I just thought I'd warn you. There's some comparisons. Now, here's what I thought was also very, very interesting. Charles insisted that there be a screen around him as he was being anointed with the holy oil and taking his oath, his sacred. There's supposed to be a sacred mystery to this act, but it's not supposed to be outside the public eye. Okay, and there was so much singing in the background, nobody was able to record exactly what he made or whom or he made his oath to. I find that troubling at the very least, that this obscuring him behind this anointing screen, that's not tradition. That was done at his request for this coronation. And we know what he was supposed to say, but there is no recording of it because of all the singing going on. So what I want to do is ask the universe, though, for insights and information. And I'm going to focus on that signature on his oath. So just insights and information about the coronation in general and that oath signature in particular. All right, including the fact of whether or not this was truly the original born of supposedly woman, Prince Charles. Let's see what the universe wants us to know about this very odd coronation that happened on Saturday, to much less fanfare and public acclaim than any seems to have ever had before. Okay, people just aren't buying it. They're just not. And I say good for them. That's a Laura's View thing. Let's see what the cards have to say, though, about the coronation and that signature that should have been in purple, but was in black. Okay. The coronation this past weekend, with all the anomalies and deviations from what should have happened or been expected to have happened. Insights and information, especially with an eye to that odd signature. Okay, we have the Ten of Cups, the Six of Wands, Five of Pentacles, King of Wands, Ace of Swords, King of Pentacles, Justice. Okay, well, here's what I'm getting. First of all, this event, even the anomalies were planned, okay? And it rolled out just exactly as they were hoping it would, okay? Now, I am getting insights that the person that was crowned or had the coronation for is not the original model. Yeah, he's gone his own way in the past. So we didn't have the original there. We have a stand-in definitely going on here. But we're being reassured that it's all part of what we're knowing is, you know, I know people get frustrated hearing it's all a movie, it's all playing out, that things have happened in the past and they're not quite ready to go public with it. But we're getting a reassurance here in the near future card with the Ace of Swords, which is, and the sword has a crown at the head of it, just that, yeah, this has happened the way it was supposed to. And a reassurance here with the King of Pentacles, okay, that there is some success going on, and the success involves some justice. Okay, I'm going to get a couple other cards for insights. But with this card here, I'm going to say that blank ink was deliberate and is a calm. Now, we have the Queen of Wands and the Five of Swords. Okay. Queen of Wands is kind of giving us a little hint here that this was an accomplishment, that it was done, again, that this was all very deliberate. Even the things that seem to have been oopsies, like that Grim Reaper that may or may not have been a choir boy, was definitely part of the plan. Okay. The Five of Swords is about being strategic about information, and it's about a victory. Okay, a victory where you quietly assert that victory. You don't shout it from the rooftops. Okay, and you keep your eye on your enemy as they make their retreat to make sure they really do. Okay, I like this card. It talks about being strategic in your winning and not gloating. Okay, and moving on. You know, you disarm the enemy, you let them leave, but they're leaving, and that they need to go. If they're not, he is fully prepared to deal with them. And I think that's what's happening with the White Hats. That this played out exactly as they were told it would and should. The anomalies were deliberate. There were calms involved with those anomalies, whether it was the black ink, the weird dresses, the lack of form and symmetry to what should have been a very, very structured and strictly adhered to occasion. So it was, and we're kind of being celebrated that we noticed that we're noticing it. So even though it's been a couple days since coronation, there was some insights and information to be had about it. And it's looking pretty good. Not for a long reign for this monarch, okay, but for the situation that has put this version 2.0 or higher into this position for now as a placeholder. Okay, let's recap. We looked at a compilation that included some odd moments from last weekend's coronation, that included a choir boy, or reputed to be choir boy, who looked like the Grim Reaper, to the fact that the signing of the oath by King Charles should have been done in purple ink and was done in black. I wondered if that was a calm. And then we looked at a blog compilation that talked about a lot of ways in which the coronation deviated from what would have made it legal, binding, and should have been expected, including the fact that, and I found this very, very interesting, that Charles wanted an anointing screen so that the holy oil wouldn't be seen to be applied to him, if it even was. And we couldn't hear him repeat his oath of office because of the singing in the background. Well, when we asked about this, what we got, first of all, was that these anomalies were deliberate. It was not supposed to go according to ritual and plan. People are supposed to see these anomalies, question them, and notice them. And again, it all went towards making sure that this affair wasn't a legally binding and permanent situation. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? Now, we're being told that there was some justice involved. And I did get that Charles 1.0 has at some point in the past departed ways from us. And so definitely we got a 2.0 or higher who is playing the part. He can do that with So many of our world leaders, okay? And that ultimately we're going to be told about the elements that that this justice was involved with, and things will be resolved. For now, he is the apparent monarch, but I think a DNA test would be interesting. Dental records or something. And if you are one of those that noticed some of these anomalies in the ways that this pageantry didn't follow rules and procedures that it was supposed to be, again, binding and legal, he, well, he came at it quite honestly in one way. Even his mother had to falsify elements of her coronation to have it happen. So whoever has that scone stone, good for you. Keep it safe. Wield it with the right person at the right time in the right place, and that may have happened. Who knows? May have happened already. So that's it for this video. I thank you so much for your time as I go down a few rabbit trails and find things that are, to me, somewhat interesting and sometimes amusing in our current events. And I thank you for your time. I don't take it for granted. And until next time, I wish you all the best, love and light and everything bright, especially if you are one of those who are seeking the light, growing towards it, and a part of things. Thank you so much. Good night.